What's up, guys? LQ here with the LQ Review. Thank you so much for joining me here at my YouTube channel. This is where I talk about all the geeky, nerdy stuff that I love to talk about. Movies, video games, comic books, and TV shows. And right now, I'm going to talk briefly about the new Matt Rife Netflix special, Lucid. So, Matt Rife, Lucid. And this is not your traditional stand-up comedy where he has, prepared jokes, an hour long worth of material that he's worked out and is ready to present on a big Netflix special. No, this special was all crowd work. Now, this is the interesting thing about Matt Rife is he's probably best known for his crowd work. That's how I discovered him. I discovered him through TikTok videos. I'd be scrolling through TikTok and he'd come up and it'd be all crowd work stuff that gets posted to TikTok or Insta Shorts or Facebook Shorts or whatever the case may be, YouTube Shorts, whatever. They would come up, they'd be little 1-minute clips of his crowd work, and I was like, hey, that's good, I like that. Maybe a year ago or so, I watched his last Netflix special, which was more of your traditional stand-up comedy. A little bit of crowd work, but mostly your traditional stand-up comedy. And I was very mixed on it. And it was one of my more popular videos of 2023 that got the most views. And I found out through my interaction with my YouTube subscribers and people who watch the video, it seemed like most of you were mixed on it too. So I didn't really know how I felt about it. I enjoyed some of it, and some of it just really fell flat. So I wasn't quite sure what to expect with an all crowd work special. Because number one, I enjoy his crowd work as shorts, but how would that work as a full hour-long Netflix special? Well, he comes in, and at the beginning, I thought it was really solid. He wants to, he comes in, he brings a chair, he sits down, he sets the stage with the audience and lets them know that this isn't going to be a traditional stand-up comedy routine, that it's all going to be audience engagement. But he has a theme. His theme is dreams, right? Goals. And dreams is kind of this nebulous term, right? Where he's talking about goals, he's talking about aspirations, he's talking about things we've accomplished. He's also talking about literal dreams, right? Stuff that people actually dream about when they're sleeping. So I will say that the setup was nice, and he had a decent crowd to work with, right? He had some people who had brought up some interesting topics of conversation. And for me, the special worked when the person he was talking to was interesting. And I'd say that was about half the time. So for me, this special was also kind of very hit and miss. There was a segment where he was talking to a lady about her actual dreams. And she has dreams that are so terrifying she falls out of bed and her husband has to pick her up and put her back in bed, or her boyfriend or whatever. And I found that segment to be interesting. There was other segments where he's talking about goals where I was mildly disinterested. So I think, like I said, a lot of this just goes back to, is the interaction working? Is the interaction working? I'm a big Joe Rogan fan. I watch his podcast, not every day, but, I watch most of his podcast. And I'm always fascinated by how he can take someone who is, how he can take someone, it doesn't matter what their political persuasion is, doesn't matter whether what their job is, doesn't matter what kind of faith that they have, it doesn't matter who the person is, he can have an interesting conversation with them. Most of the time. I was bored to tears by the Russell Crowe interaction, by the Russell Crowe interview. I didn't finish it because I was really bored by it. And that was surprising to me because I'm a Russell Crowe fan. But it was just a kind of a boring interaction. That doesn't mean I'm not a fan of Joe Rogan. I am. I was just not a fan of that interaction. And I think that's what we get with Matt Rife, is that if he is having an interesting interaction with somebody in the crowd, it's going to be an interesting segment of the routine. And if it's not, then it's going to be a segment that kind of falls flat. Crowd work really works well in short form because you can clip it to a minute and then post the funny segment. Where if it's an extended conversation, that conversation really has to be clicking to be entertained by it. And like I said, it really was only working for me about half the time. So I don't know. I think if you're a fan of Matt Rife, I think you'll get something out of this. I do think that, in the past year or so, I think his star has fallen a little bit. Obviously, he's still relevant, but I don't see his shorts popping up nearly as much, and I don't hear him in the conversation nearly as much. So maybe this will get his name back out there. I don't know. We'll see. But for me, it was kind of a C performance. Not an A, not a B, but also not a D or an F. It was kind of a C performance. So that's my take on Matt Rife Lucid. Let me know what you thought of it in the comments below. While you're down there commenting, make sure you subscribe to my channel. And until next time, we'll see you guys later.